Akin, the original founder of Zanzibar Soul Fusion back in 2010. 4.5 years ago, I made a decision to sell the restaurant, and just recently I had the opportunity to buy that restaurant back. I did with the thought to come back and turn the restaurant around and make it the premier African-American owned restaurant in Northeast Ohio. And I didn't come by myself, I came with a team.
We look forward to seeing you at the new Zanzibar.
Then the biggest what?
Businesses. And they just needed that extra little push, and that's where I came in at. With the experience, with the knowledge, and obviously with the capital to take them to the next level. So that's my team. It's just not me. I have a great team. You know, Chef Tony, Ellery, Amir, and Free. You know, and that's the team that we're going to grow with. And the great thing, their eyes are on the bigger prize. They're not just content with just Cleveland market. You know, we're looking at Columbus. We're looking at Pittsburgh. So that's the goal. But right now, I told them we're not looking nowhere until we master these two locations, get service and food consistency to back to where it was at one point in time. For those that don't know, for the first 7 years of Zanzibar history, we were on the top 100 restaurants, not black restaurants, restaurants.
That's good.
In Northeast Ohio by the Plain Dealer and Cleveland.com and Cleveland Magazine. Every last
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Full Experience. We have another great edition for y'all. Episode 173. And y'all already know how we do it. We interview the best Cleveland has to offer, the best entrepreneurs, the great innovators, the great creators of our great city. We have none other than Mr. Akin. If y'all don't know who this man is, I don't know what you've been doing, okay? If you live in Cleveland longer than 5 minutes, you know who this man is or whatnot. And you've probably been in the establishment, didn't even know that you were in them or whatnot. So we're going to hear about his great story, and thank you for coming, by the way.
Yep, no problem. Thanks for inviting me.
No, thank you. And then we got Brittany. We got the best in the world right here. If y'all are subscribed to the Full Experience, please subscribe to Beauty Be Told, okay?
Yes.
Best podcast in the world.
That's it.
So, as I ask everybody on the podcast, I like to ask, represent your hood. What part of Cleveland did you grow up in?
Mine is not simple. I've lived in a couple of different places.
Okay.
So I was born on 68th and Carnegie in Midtown. I stayed there until I was maybe 11 or 12, and then I went to 131st and Quebec, right off Corlett between Union and Harvard.
Yeah, okay.
When I was maybe 13, but I still was back and forth between there and 68th. Where my father was at with his businesses. So I was born, the first 13 years of my life, I was raised in a motel called the Carnegie Hotel, Motel where my mother worked. And my father owned, it was down on 68th and Carnegie.
Yeah.
So I had a couple of different rooms on the first floor. Then when I got a little older, I went to the second floor for a second. Then my father decided that this is not a place for a little boy to be raised with everything going on, but he didn't know it was already too late. I'd already been completely screwed up.
I get it.
But he had bought a building and put me up into me and my mother in the building on 131st. So I was there until he passed away, maybe 4 years later, when I was 15 years old. And then me and my mother moved. Our whole world went upside down. Me and my mother moved into the projects on East Woodland Estates on 75th and Woodland. So I stayed there until I was 19. And I bought my first house when I was 19 years old. And two family, moved my mother down, and I moved upstairs.
Okay, now listen. And I want to take a time out because you just described some Cleveland history with the motel, the motel down there and whatnot, because I don't think a lot of people know that that's Cleveland history right there.
100%. That whole area, a lot of people don't. I mean, for me, it was a blessing that I didn't realize then because I thought all kids grew up in that environment. But later on in life, I found out by visiting family members that lived up on like 189th and Harvard, Lee Road. Those were the suburbs to us. I was like suburban living. I thought all kids grew up in the urban and played in the junkyard next door and, will siphon gas out of people's cars.
That's normal.
You know what I mean? I thought that was very normal, but I didn't realize it. But later in life, I became aware, and that's the life that I want. But I was blessed to be in the environment with some of the biggest African American heavy hitters in Cleveland, the Winston Willises. I don't know if you guys know that name, but if you don't, take some time, do a little research. At one point in time, between 105 and Carnegie and 105 and Euclid, he owned every building on the block. Every building and every business. And this was back in the, the 60s. Yeah. Late 50s, early 60s. And if you do the history, it'll blow your mind. I mean, even to the point all the way to just in our recent history, Cleveland Clinic did some crazy stuff and took his last property. But it was one of the first times that I heard about how racist this city was when one day they went and arrested him on a very minor charge out of one of his businesses. Wow. And he didn't go to court. He didn't go to the city. He didn't go to jail. He went straight to prison. And they tried to bury him in prison with no contact with anybody while they finagled and took a bunch of his properties, which is now the whole Cleveland Clinic heartbeat of that area. And they did that through the help of some city politicians. And he's still alive, actually. But I did not know that. So my father looked up to him. He was up under his shadow. He was motivated and inspired by him. And I was blessed that my father used to take me to his businesses, the Scrumpy Dump, the restaurant to go and eat in a movie theater, and go shopping at one of his stores where my father used to buy his suits. So I was blessed to come from that environment. Lancers was literally right up the street from my house, from the motel where I lived at. So I went to Lancers in the evenings and looked through the windows to see all the guys pulling up in the Cadillacs and Lincoln Town cars and different things. So,
So you've been submerged in real estate from the very beginning. Like, you were born into this.
Well, I wasn't born in it, but I was exposed to it. So I like to say again, I was blessed to come up in an environment of entrepreneurs and people that was go-getters, and I never really seen people work jobs, other than my family, my people was all bosses, but they were, don't get it twisted, they wasn't on the level that I've been blessed to take it to. They were what we call hood rich. They called my father Richie Rich. I mean, he was hood rich. He was the man in the hood, you know what I mean? But he didn't have any real true wealth, but later I found out it was better than the average person. I mean, he came from a hustling background. He moved from Memphis, Tennessee up here, worked at a car dealership, made some money selling liquor out the trunk of his car, gambling. He was a professional gambler. He did his little thing in the streets. The only thing he's done everything except drugs. That was one thing that he was cold-heartedly against is drugs. But everything else, I mean, down to prostitution, gambling, numbers running, loan shark, selling liquor, whatever it was except gambling. And he hustled his way up to literally buy a motel, which turned out to be the second largest African-American owned motel in the city of Cleveland. So, I don't know if you guys heard of the Green Book. It was the movie. But the actual books, the Green Books is real. And I've been blessed to do my history and find copies of the Green Books with my father motel in it. There wasn't a lot of black businesses in Cleveland listed in there, and his was one of them.
Come on.
But I mean, if you read books, it's listed in, Iceberg Slim book when he came through Cleveland. The Carnegie Hotel was in there. Ike. Reverend Ike, which was a popular pastor, Reverend con man / he used to come in there on the regular. So the scene from Car Wash where Richard Pryor played, I might be too old for y'all.
No. I know.
I might be too old, but Car Wash was a great blaxploitation movie that Richard Pryor played, the character Reverend Ike, when he pulled up in the Lincoln with the
That was a real
sisters and they
person.
was singing. It was based on the real person, Reverend Ike. All Reverend Ike used to do is travel around the country and bless people and give them the number to play for money, for a donation.
Right.
You know, so I was around him and I was blessed to meet him and be up under him and, you know, be involved with that type of life. So again, that for me, that was the blessing. The things that I seen, I don't know, it came very natural for me never to have a job. It was very natural for me to be an entrepreneur. I've never had a job as an adult. I had one job actually two. One was at the Cleveland Browns Stadium for about 3 hours as a vendor selling peanuts, and then I worked at Jogger Lake for about 3 months. That was it. I've never had another job in my life. Even in prison, when I was in prison, I never had a job.
Yeah.
I was always able to manipulate the system to do my time how I wanted to do my time.
No, hey, listen. And I want I want the young generation to understand the significance and why we as a people have to become entrepreneurs, because one of the things about segregation and discrimination, we weren't allowed to have jobs. So what we had to do, we had to become entrepreneurs. And
yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, no,
for sure.
And I like the resurgence, not the resurgence, but I just know nowadays everybody wants to be an entrepreneur.
It's because that's one of the, I believe, one of the positive things about social media.
Yeah.
It's making it popular. Is making it the hip thing, the trend, which is a absolute great thing, because the reality of it, and we're still not there from a statistic. I mean, I think we're close, but statistically, we have more of our businesses open before civil rights. You know, that's a fact. But we were forced to it.
Yeah.
We had to. We didn't have any other choice to have our own grocery stores, our own hardware stores, our own clothing stores. We had to do everything because we had to rely on us. And that's why it's very debatable. And I'm probably on the side of the side that most people wouldn't want to hear, that one of the worst things that ever happened to us is civil rights, when they told us, okay, now y'all allowed to come spend y'all money with us. And y'all can sit up front and come through our front door. And as African Americans, we took that and we took it overboard. You know what I mean? And we turned our backs on our own businesses to support theirs. And in turn, those businesses completely just wildered away very quickly and disappeared. And the ones that survived, they sold out. You know what I mean? Foreigners and local people came in and bought their businesses up, and they took that money and ran to the suburbs. So it weakened the urban communities that we grew up in, and that's why they're, so weak to this day. But they were a lot stronger, believe it or not, 50 years ago.
No, and that's a good point. Versus building a table, we had to sit at theirs or whatnot. And like you said, we seen that Facebook now. But like I said, I feel like it's a resurgence, It
is. It absolutely is. 100%. I love it. We've never had more full-service African-American-owned businesses in Cleveland in my lifetime. Like I'm saying that we had in my lifetime when I was a kid, but obviously I wasn't a part of that. In my generation, we've never had this many. I mean, and I'm one of those guys, everybody that know me, I go out my way to support black business. So I'm the guy. If you want to know what black restaurant to go to in any city in the United States, I'm the guy to talk to. Even in this city, but over the last couple of years, I can't even keep up. I can't keep up because there's so many opening every week. Like, it's unbelievable. I used to be on top of all of it. I mean, just a quick story. A lot of people don't know this. This is how bad it was in Cleveland. And I challenge anybody to debate this with me. And I came home 14 years ago from my last prison stint. And 14 years ago, it was only one full-service African-American restaurant open in the city of Cleveland. Only one. One. Wow. I challenge anybody. One. 14 years ago, it was only one. And that was Lancers.
I'm about to say, right. I'm about to say 14.
What did you say?
2010, huh?
Like
Well, no. Well, actually, 2008-9. So I came home in 2010. And even no. So in 2008, 2009, Lancers was the only full service. So for those that don't know, full service restaurants are defined as liquor, servers coming to your table. Not the Whitmores, not the Hot Sauce Williams, not the Angies. They were around. Much respect to them, the B&Ms. But I'm talking about where you can go in with your family, sit down at the table, a server come over your table, take your order, and you can order a drink. There was only one, and that was Lancers. So that's how bad the drought was in Cleveland for so long. Now, nobody can name them all.
Yeah.
Nobody. Somebody need to create some type of book.
A directory.
Yeah, seriously. Because there's so many. And you know, and I try to keep up and I try to go out my way to support. Well, they have some, but yeah, they have some apps, but but none based in Cleveland though. Yeah, none based in Cleveland. I think the closest is the brother with which one did you say? Local. That's the closest.
Okay.
But he don't have them all. He don't have them all.
Yeah, I'm about to say, it's like you said.
Yeah, I can. It's a bunch in there that he doesn't even have yet. He probably can't keep up with it.
So imagine why you think it's an upsurge of that or whatnot versus from before?
No, I told you, social media is doing a great job to expose that. Listen, when I opened Zanzibar in October of 2010, I was the second one. And I researched, and that wasn't my first one. Back before then, before prison, I had Carolinas. And at that time, we had Carolinas, we had Field of Fire, we had the spot on Chagrin and Beechwood. Caesar Burks had, I forgot the name of it. We had a place on 79th and Superior. Tom Page had Gookies. We had maybe about 10 at that point. And then while I was in prison, for whatever reason, they all closed. They all disappeared. The only one survived was Lancers. And people might mention bar lounges. I'm saying restaurants, full service restaurants.
Yeah.
So when I came home in 2010, there's no exaggeration. My chef, within 2 months of me opening Zanzibar, the business was so good. It exceeded all expectations. I remember the first time I stood at the hostess stand and told somebody, I apologize, but it's going to be about a 2-hour wait. And they said, okay, put our name on the list. And my heart dropped. Like, oh, I can't believe people are willing to wait 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing something really good. And I remember over that weekend, we did so well. We made so much money. I told my chef, I said, bro, I guarantee you right now is some smart individuals in this city trying to figure out how they can come get this money. And they'll be dumb not to, because it was so much. We couldn't keep up with it, right? I mean, we were killing it. The first space, Zanzibar Shaker Square. So I learned a long time ago the best competition is competition that you're actually a part of, right? So I started like, man, I have to open up more, and I have to a bunch of different names and compete against myself. So I went on to open Jezebel's Bayou on Larchmere. So
that was you?
Yeah. Well, me and a partner, Jezebel's Bayou, me and my guy Mozzie, opened that up on Larchmere. Stone Town, when I opened up downtown, and just expanding, the brand, period, the Angie. So I wanted to spread out and be my own competition, So we used to send people, when we went on the 2-hour wait at Zanzibar, we sent people to Jezebel's right around the corner, and it was love. So that's the key. But again, the exposure of social media, people seeing, man, he's just a normal guy. He ain't nobody special.
No, you can't.
He ain't a rocket scientist. If he can do it, I can do it. Right? And that's great. That's what it's supposed to be about. The more normal you make entrepreneurship and success, the more people won't be afraid to go after it. So that's what I feel like, that's my goal. That's what I'm trying to do on social media. For me, that's my ultimate goal on social media. I have t-shirts that say, if I can do it, you can. That's why I don't wear it like a badge of honor, but I don't shy away from saying that I got kicked out of school in the 9th grade. I got my education GED in prison. I got my college education in prison, and a little on the streets, but most of it was in prison. I'm not a rocket scientist. I feel like I'm smarter than the average, but I'm more street smart and common sense smart and natural ability smart than book smart. Right? I was doing homework with my daughter last night, like, oh my God, this math, I can't believe they giving y'all this. What is this about? You know what I mean? So I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm pretty smart, and I catch on very quickly. And I don't have fear. I'm fearless. So that's, if people say, what's your superpower, that would be it. I'm fearless.
That's good.
I'm never scared about, I'm not scared to fail at all, doing nothing at all, period. So
okay, let's talk about that, because like I think that's a very hindrance for a lot of people, is that fear part. Why do you feel, what do you think can help combat that for a new entrepreneur?
Information, knowledge, seeing people like me, letting people know I'm just a normal cat with a crazy background. I guarantee you a worse story than yours, whatever yours is. I think that allows people to get strength off of other people's stories.
That's good.
That's the reality. We have to make that very normal. Steve Jobs and all the Warren Buffett and Oprah, they were just normal people that got an opportunity, and when that opportunity presented itself, they were able to take advantage of it.
That's good.
It's simple as that.
That's good.
Everybody can have a chance, but I would say this, and I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer, but I will say this. As much as I believe in entrepreneurship, everybody can't be an entrepreneur. I hate to say it, but I'm a realist. I'm not knocking anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not saying who can and who can't, but it's not realistic. I see so many people going down this path. They don't have the right tools. They don't have the right information. And that's already, they're handicapping themselves. But it's not meant for everyone. Quick story. And I learned this. I was in prison, in federal prison. I used to teach a class called Business Management and Economics, right?
That's good.
And I had these guys come to one of the first classes, maybe about 15 guys in the class. And I had put my curriculum together on what I was going to teach. And the first thing I wanted to do, I put out like a pretty much a survey, and I needed them to fill it out where I can see where everybody level of knowledge was at that point. So I wouldn't, be teaching things that they already know, right? I wanted to take them to that next level. So I put out the survey the first week, and we talked. And then the next week, the class was only once a week. I went to the class, and I went over excited. All right, let me get y'all paper. And pretty much only like one person that did it. I flipped out, cussed everybody out. Man, I ain't got time for this shit. I can be using my time for me.
Right,
you know what I mean? I was doing this as really showing love and a favor and to give back, but I don't have time to waste. I got 3 more years in prison, but you know what I can do with these 3 years in prison?
Yeah.
Or worst case, I can be playing handball, worst case, but I can read more books. So I left the room, and I'm walking across the yard, mad, and one of my old heads in there, he was like, what's up, Africa? That's what everybody called me in there. What's up, Africa? The class over that quick? You just went in. I was like, man, F them dudes, man. They don't want it. They don't want to change their mindset. They don't want this information. They wanted to waste away. And he was like, come here, man. Let me talk to you for a minute. Calm down. This is what you have to understand. I know you always want to see the best in people, but the best might not. And your definition of the best might not be their best. So that doesn't knock it. But this is the reality. Everything is set up on purpose. It's very purposeful, right? You have a hierarchy in this world.
Yeah.
Everybody can't be at the top. Everybody can't be producers. We always have to have more consumers than producers.
Time out.
You have to.
Woo-wee.
If everybody was a producers, who would be the consumers? So it's like a pyramid. You have to always have more at the bottom than at the top. So the bottom pushes the top up always.
Okay.
So that's and this is
That's a
again.
powerful lesson.
Yeah, no disrespect. No, I wish the best for everybody, but that's just not how God created this world. It's just not reality. Everybody can't be the chief. Everybody can't be the king. Because who's going to be the pawns? Who's going to be the first over the, to get shot when they, step up? That's just the reality.
Get the front line, right?
Who's going to be the front line? So, but that gave me peace, comfort. I calmed down. I was like, man, you right. Like, damn, you right. Oh, that was that LL song. You a customer. You know what I mean? Like, he's a producer, you a customer. I need to produce where you can buy it. that's our reality. That's the reality of this world.
That's a whole lesson right there.
Yeah.
Cause we hear too often people talk about how they homeboys won't, as they elevate, they won't come along with them, and they get mad, or the people get mad around them, and like that. Hope y'all heard them.
Yeah.
Cause I think that's a lot less as you elevate in your business and your personal growth or whatnot. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. I learned this lesson through trial and error that I call it planting the seed. You can't. Because I was doing it a lot, I would bring my people around me and say, hey, I got this idea here. You take this and you do it, now back to play. And they kept dropping the ball back to back. What I learned is you can't be the person that plant the seed. You have to be the person that waters the seed. Right? The person that you want to and that's going to be successful is the person that's coming to you constantly and saying, I want to do this. And not only talking about it, they're actually putting the plan together, doing the paperwork, doing the action. And it's your job to water that and help them go to the next level.
That's good right there.
Those are the ones that tends to be the most successful. I have guys that came home from prison after me and came to me and said, I need this, 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 and this. And the ones that just talk and have their hands out, I give it to them, it's gone, guaranteed. The ones that actually come to me and say, this is what I'm going to do, watch me work. And then they go to school and get their certificate doing this and get, go to grad, boom, boom, boom. And they come to me like, I applied this, my credit is here, boom, boom, boom. I just need you, big bruh, just to co-sign this. I've done the work, I got the certificate, I'm ready. I've graduated trucking school. I've went to barber college. Can you help me open up a barbershop? Can you help me buy my first truck? I did the work. Those are the ones that most of the time are the most successful.
That's good. And those are ones that you don't mind partnering because they already done the work or whatnot. You just, like you said, I think it's Chris Rocker said the best. He said, when someone's on the side of the road, if you sit in the car, no one's gonna help you push it. If they see you pushing, people are more inclined to help you push the car because they see you pushing it too. Yeah. And that always stuck with me because that's a real thing. Right
of course, it's in the Quran and the Bible. God helps those that is trying to help themselves. If you take those first 3 hard steps, God will make the next 2 steps a lot easier for you. But you have to take the hard steps. You have to put in the work. It's just not about prayer. You have to actually go out and do it.
So okay, I want to make sure that we take the time out because I want to get the real estate also because that's what I know you for. Okay. When I started real estate agent, that's all I heard was you.
Okay. I didn't know you was a real estate agent.
Yeah. But I want to talk about the restaurant. So what advice would you give someone who wants to start a restaurant?
Don't do it.
Okay. What'd you get?
No. All BS aside, this is like when I was in the streets, when I was a knucklehead selling drugs, we had and nobody really taught us that. You knew you had a moral obligation. You knew you was doing something morally wrong. At least those that had morals and had a conscience knew that. I knew it wasn't the best thing in the world, the smartest thing to be selling these things to people and their addictions, and they come in with VCRs and TVs out their house. Because I went through it in my own personal home, with my mother and family members and brothers and cousins. But when your friends, right, your guys, your dudes will come to you and say, bro, I see you getting this money, I want to get in, put me on. The first thing I would say is, no, don't do it, bro, Go to school, go to class. Here go a couple dollars, man. Stay away from this. But then you see them coming back. Come on, man. I'm gonna do it. I hooked up with them. All right. I see you hard-headed. You committed. You're gonna do this thing. So now it's my job. I have to give you as much help as I can to help you be successful. That's how I felt about the restaurant business. It's that bad. It's that bad. Yeah. It's like, well, look, let's talk real, right? Yeah. Let's talk numbers, because that's what I'm all about, the numbers. It's a statistical fact that the restaurant business is the hardest business on the face of this earth. More restaurants open and close than any other business in the world.
I was going to ask you about that.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Google that.
Yeah.
Within the first 3 years, most restaurants, new restaurants, fail. Right. within the first 5, the other ones fall off, right? It's very rare. So why is that? Because most people go into this business, lack of knowledge, lack of experience, and undercapitalized. Those are the number 3 reasons people fail. So that's why when so many people come to me and I see so many people get into this business and never worked in a restaurant a day in their life, that blows my mind. Now, have it been some success stories? Of course it has. Of course it's 1 or 2% that's you successful, because how can they be successful with the lack of knowledge and experience and undercapitalized? Where they come in with a great concept, a great product that nobody else has, and it jumps. It jumps. But that's a problem too, because what I've learned from so many businesses, and I'm not going to put anybody
of carrying that load, drop the house. Gutter Properties will buy your house as is with offers up to $300,000. Need serious repairs, liens, taxes, or judgments? We'll work through your unique situation to get that house off your back. During your free, no-obligation appraisal, we maintain social distancing and take every precaution to ensure your experience is safe. Drop the house. Gutter Properties. Call us or visit gutterproperties.com.
So many businesses trick the owners to think that they're good businessmen or women because the money was coming in so good and so fast. They thought that they were smarter than, they made it, but they didn't understand that
so the
money doesn't automatically equate to being a good business person.
Type so.
Right? So that's part of the problem. But I can guarantee you this. People will have more success if I believe in internship, right? I believe in it so much. I don't care how old you are, what race, what background, I believe in internship, paid or unpaid. To me, internship is stronger than a college education. Whatever you want to do in life, whatever you want to be, whatever industry you want to be in, go work for somebody successful in that industry and give them your time, even if it's for free. It's more valuable than the money that they can pay. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah, that's good.
So I don't know how many people that came to my restaurant over the years and said, man, I want to get in the business. I said, hey, come in with your block on, whatever time you want to come in, whenever you want to come in, and shadow me, shadow my manager, shadow my server, shadow my bartender, and see if this business is for you.
Yeah.
All you got to do is give up time.
Right.
Why would you spend your own money to see if this works for you? And out of all the people I offered that to, only one ever did it. Only one. And within the 3rd visit, he was like, oh, no, this ain't for me. It's not for me. You know what I mean? That's what I say, intern, paid or unpaid. When I suggest that to people, well, I'm going to get paid? No. I'm going to pay you with experience. I'm going to pay you with knowledge.
That's worth,
you know what I mean?
10 times.
But people don't want to give that up. But they'll rather go pay $50,000 a year on a loan to a teacher that's actually never did it. Or they might have did it but didn't do it successfully.
Right.
Because it goes back to that saying, those that do, and those that don't teach. And obviously I'm not knocking teachers. I'm all for teachers 1,000. So please don't take that out of context. But that's the reality. Most of the professors, not all obviously, because some are very successful and they go back to give their time to teach. But most of them never did what they're teaching successfully. They didn't. That's the reality. So the restaurant business, going back to your original question, is very difficult. It's very hard. If you're going to do it, get the experience, get some knowledge, and have some money, some capital. Have enough money to keep that business open, whether you make $1 or not, for at least 90 to 180 days. That's where I see the biggest mistake with places and businesses and restaurants that open up. My situation, I didn't have the money. I opened up on a shoestring budget, but I had information, I had knowledge, and I had experience. And I had a work ethic that was second to none.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how many times I slept on the booths in the restaurant because I wasn't leaving at 3 and I knew I had to be back in at 6:37. It wasn't a problem. It wasn't a problem for me. I did it. And this is what I tell people, not only the restaurant business and business in general. If you haven't cried lately, that means you're not pushing hard enough. That's your personal gauge. That's your personal measurement. So people complain about things and not doing this, doing that. If you haven't stretched yourself out to the point that you're trying to be the best you and take your business to that next level, that you feel the pain and it's not breaking you down, you're not pushing hard enough. So don't even come to me with that, because I don't. I'm not with all that. I'm not the guy to come cry on my shoulder. Unfortunately, I'm just not that guy.
No, I feel that.
You know what I mean? I'm not. So that's the restaurant business in a nutshell. If you can do all those, God bless you. Go for it. Have a great idea. Please don't open up another chicken wing and with some barbecue sauce spot. Do something different. Those are the people that's elevating to the next level. I learned this in business school. Find a void in the market and fill it.
Fill it. There we go. Come on.
Find a void in the market and fill it. As simple as that. And some of the greatest ideas, somebody else is already doing it. You don't have to be the person that invents the wheel. Just make the wheel better. And put it in the area that they don't have it.
That's good right there.
That is good.
That's good. Let me ask you this, because, okay, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what do you feel like you kind of hit it on earlier. You were saying, because there have been restaurants that were based around a certain meal or a certain dish that does fantastically well, but the ambiance, the operations aren't there.
Right.
What do you feel like is more essential? Should you have the talent, quote unquote, product, or should you have the ambiance operations down before? Or is it hand in hand?
Well, that's a good question, and it's not an easy answer, but I would tell you this. Just keeping it 100, the product is stronger than everything else. I know over the last 6 or 7 years, this new generation, God bless them, they've become a lot more conscious of service, right? And atmosphere. Because prior to 10 years ago, you didn't have to have the best design. You didn't have to, I learned this, maybe about 13 years ago, before I opened Zanzibar, pre-Zanzibar, I was working on another concept, and I have a friend of mine. He's Italian. I call him the most interesting man in the world. His name is John Carlo. So we went on a trip to Atlanta before I actually lived there. I said, let's go to Atlanta, man. I'm gonna show you some different restaurants. And he went down, and we were talking, and we went in a couple of restaurants. He was like a king. He's an artist though, so he's an artist. Like he carves out concrete and turn them into people, and he sells some of the most expensive art pieces that Cleveland has ever wrote a check for. They bought him from him. They bought those pieces from him. Wow. So some of the pieces in the Rotunda and City Hall that they paid $150,000 for, I don't know what they are, but it's something that was in his mind. He sold them to him. So we walked in a couple of restaurants. He said, King, you have to feed people through their eyes first when they walk in the restaurant. And this was 13, 14 years ago. So I was like, what? What are you talking? That's too much artist in you, right? And I'm an artist. I'm a creator, right? But back then, I came from a background, anybody that knows Angie's, my mother, Angie Soul Food, 55th and Euclid. I'm not going to say it was one of the most raggediest restaurants in Cleveland, but it was one of the most under-decorated restaurants in Cleveland.
The food spoke for itself.
The food spoke for itself. We had some of the biggest heavy hitters in Cleveland and ever come through Cleveland went to Angie Soul Food. 55th and Euclid. 55th and Euclid. You name them, they went to that location. And I seen it. I seen it with my own eyes. You might get cussed out. You might have to knock a roach off your shoulder while you eating. A rat might run across the floor and you just lift your legs up because the food was that good. I seen people lift their legs up and keep eating. And literally, my mother might cuss you out. A server might cuss you out. it was what it was, but she did great business. She had all the heavy hitters there. At that time, nobody had raised up the bar, right? Fast forward now, and I'm not gonna say I was the first but Zanzibar was a pretty phenomenal full service restaurant. It was very pleasurable to the eyes, and nobody else had that, right? And then Jezebel's, I came right behind it. And then Stone Town doing something different. And then other people, I mean, just over the last couple of years, DJ KY with Filter, I applauded. I was very effing impressed. Mad, Mike with Fire, the Boilers, you know, he took, that Fire, man, is amazing. I don't care what nobody say. Filter and Fire, top 10 in terms of decor-driven restaurants in the city of Cleveland, black or white, by none. I give them all respect. So they actually, I was out to business. I wasn't motivated. I went in those restaurants. I was inspired. Like, yo, I'm ready to get back in this fight and do something. But even when you go to cities like Atlanta, people don't know, 15 years ago, Atlanta wasn't the black restaurant mecca that it is today. You know, 20 years ago, I used to go to Atlanta. It was only a couple of, we used to go to all the white restaurants. That's the reality. It was only a couple of black-owned restaurants, Harlem Bar and Rare and Social House, you know, but all the hottest places were owned by non-African Americans. But now, you can't even, it's like I live in Atlanta too. It's like over 500 full-service African American-owned restaurants. I can't even keep up. It's crazy.
Do you feel like the future of Cleveland is to turn around that narrative?
It'll never be on that level because it can't. We don't have enough population. We don't have enough numbers, and we definitely don't have enough of people that look like us. So it can never. People, the population is growing in Atlanta tenfold on the regular. It's absolutely insane. I moved there going on 3 years ago, and my neighborhood was woods and trees. I'm south in Atlanta, like what people call the country area. And now it's so many housing apartments, and they're just knocking these buildings and houses up. It's absolutely insanity how fast it's growing. I mean, statistically, I think Austin, Texas, Arizona, Atlanta, it's like 5 of the top. U-Haul releases their destination statistics every year, where people are one-way trucks are going to and leaving that truck there, and the South, the sunny states are where everybody is going. Period. That's just the reality. It's growing so fast. So no, unfortunately, Cleveland can't get to that level. We're struggling with the full service restaurants that we have now. They're opening up so fast. Unfortunately, we don't have enough people to support those businesses. That's the reality. All these, and I tell people, and you'll understand as soon as I say it, the blessing about opening up a business in Cleveland, we will support you. From day one, Cleveland will come out and effing support you. That's the beautiful thing about Cleveland. Now, can you as a business owner retain that support? Can you keep that business coming in? That's your problem. But I've never had a problem with opening up business in Cleveland and getting people to come out and support. And they do, as you see it. Every hot spot that open up, they're banging.
They're banging.
I mean, over crazy, like oversaturated in the beginning, like.
But a year from there.
That's how you really test the business. How does it look 3 years from now, 5 years from now? How does the business look? And I don't know if anybody has been able to retain that business over the long haul. Unfortunately, the story of Zanzibar, obviously I'm biased, but I felt like I had the longest run even before I sold it. I opened in October 2010. I sold it in the beginning of 2018. I had an 8-year run, grew to 2 locations, 2 big major locations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no African American in Cleveland has done business on that level, that long, on that stage. Shaker Square, downtown Cleveland.
Come on now.
I sold the businesses, and unfortunately, the individuals that I sold it to, they didn't have restaurant experience, and they thought they wanted to be in the restaurant business. And the restaurant business, let them know that this wasn't for you. And I had the opportunity to buy them back recently, and I purchased them back. And my goal is just simply put to make Zanzibar a historical African-American restaurant in this city, and I want to be the most historical. That's the ultimate goal. I didn't buy it back for money. I don't need the money. I'm blessed, but I bought it back to prove something to myself, and just to take a brand that I created and birthed to that level.
That's good. That's good. Right, man. And I think I wanted to like, you know what I'm saying, get overhead. You brought back the business.
Yeah. I saw. Yeah.
That's phenomenal, right?
Yeah. 4.5 years later, I bought it back.
That's crazy.
And I never. When I walked away, I never thought that would be an opportunity.
Right.
I never even considered it. And just right before I repurchased it, over like maybe 90 days previously, the owners would start reaching out. Hey, is this something you interested in? I'm like, no, but I'll help you find a buyer. And I was aggressively trying to help them find a buyer. Even when I got the last call, I even made calls to some of my industry friends and said, hey man, this is a good opportunity, you should buy it. I can't really help you, I don't want to make that commitment, but I'll help you as much as I can, but you should buy it. I'm telling you, it's a great opportunity. And it just wasn't happening. And I said, if I can get the right team, if I can put the right team together, I would. And I was. And the number one person on that team was my original executive chef. I was able to bring him back from sunny Florida off his retirement and bring him back to get back on the team. And I brought in a young team of guys that was really serious about this business. And I knew that because when they left me, they started with me and they went on to open up their own businesses. And they just needed that extra little push, and that's where I came in at, with the experience, with the knowledge, and obviously with the capital to take them to the next level. So that's my team. It's just not me. I have a great team. Chef Tony, Ellery, Amir, and Free, and that's the team that we're going to grow with. And the great thing, their eyes are on the bigger prize. They're not just content with just Cleveland market. We're looking at Columbus. We're looking at Pittsburgh. So that's the goal. But right now, I told them we're not looking nowhere until we master these two locations, get service and food consistency to back to where it was at one point in time. For those that don't know, for the first 7 years of Zanzibar history, we were on the top 100 restaurants, not black restaurants. That's good. In Northeast Ohio by the Plain Dealer and Cleveland.com and Cleveland Magazine. Every last one. So I know I have the certifications, the A+, so we were recognized as that and not just a black-owned restaurant. Right. So I feel I'm not the guy that goes out my way. I have to cross over. Crossing over is not a bad thing, but I want to be that brand, that business in this industry. And, I feel like we're doing a great job. My team, the Cleveland Breakfast Club, I think is doing a great job. I think the Vegan Club is doing a effing amazing job. No knock to anybody, and I'm not being biased. I'll tell you when I'm biased, and I'm not being biased, that the Vegan Club is the best vegan restaurant in Northeast Ohio. Chef Portia is just... She on another level, man. And for her to think how young she still is and she's still growing, it's amazing. Her creativity is just, it'll knock you off your feet, And 85% of our customers are not vegan, so don't, check it out. It's a great food experience, not just a vegan experience. This is not Burger King vegan burgers and the stuff you see at the grocery store. This is not that at all.
Real deal.
Period. This is the real deal. This is some real cooking, real creativity.
And I want to give your flowers while we're here, man, because like I said, I love Zanzibar. If I got a choice going between somewhere else, I'm going to Zanzibar, hands down. Soul food rolls, just the ambiance as a whole. It's just it's a great place to go if you just want to have a great time, or you just want to go on a date. I've had plenty of dates.
Okay.
I'm gonna say so myself.
Good.
But thank you guys for that.
I appreciate it.
And I heard about your business just through word of mouth. I mean, it was spreading through the city. I'm like, what is this Zanzibar everybody keeps speaking about? Like, I gotta try them out and see what's going on. This is in Shaker, so.
Well, that's Cleveland. That's the beautiful thing about
is.
Cleveland. That's what I love about doing business here in Cleveland, for sure. And people support.
So I want you to, because you are a man of many talents. God has blessed you, obviously. Because I wanted to make sure I put emphasis on that, because you could be talented in one area, you could do extremely well at that area, but you have mastered not just the restaurant business, but you also have mastered real estate.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. How did you even start? Because you obviously said you bought your first house at 19, and obviously you've seen your parents involved in real estate, right? So when did you start understanding, okay, the power of real estate and how I can really, because you think about your restaurants in real estate, because you got to
not all. I don't own all the real estate.
Okay.
Actually, the biggest, I don't own the real estate. I don't own Shaker Square.
Okay. Not yet.
Maybe, yeah. I don't own.
Not yet.
Yeah, I don't own Shaker Square. I don't own the building downtown, so I don't own most of them. I own the Angie's on Carnegie. I just bought an Angie's on 123rd, a building for a future Angie's on 123rd and Superior. So I don't own all of them, just a couple. But you know, as much as I am pro ownership, pro real estate, don't let that get in the way of success. Obviously, you know, Zanzibar is what it is because of those two locations, and I couldn't own them when I first opened them. That wasn't realistic.
I got you.
So your question was?
So when did you see the importance of real estate, and how did you make that transition into grasping or getting that experience and the knowledge to take real estate to where you took it to?
So going back, so reconnecting, I want to connect this to people because I want them to understand why. And social media is not going anywhere, so I'm not going to knock it. There's so many negatives on social media, so many, but it is some positives. And the positives is, for this generation, social media is allowing the opportunity to invest in real estate very normal, right? But for me, I was blessed growing up. My father made that very normal for me. Never by words. So I was still too young. He felt like I was too young to really start giving me those jewels and those diamonds and giving me that education, but he did it through action, right? Just seeing him buy all these different houses and buildings. And it's funny because I just did the research. It's a website. You probably know this. It's a website that the county provides that you can look up every real estate transaction since 1845 in Cuyahoga County is public. So it's funny. I just spent about 3 days ago doing research on the properties that my father owned back then. He owned 9 properties. But in my mind, it was a lot more. I thought I was going to find a lot more. But he owned 9. But, you know.
That's still impressive.
You know, that was good. And he started in 1963.
Okay.
So that was big. With his first commercial property in 63. So that was pretty big. And I was born in 71. So he actually took me to a sheriff's auction when I was a little kid. He took me to a foreclosure auction when I was a little kid. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. He didn't give me any information. And if he did, I forgot all that. I just remember the experience of him bidding on properties at this auction. And this had to be 81, 82. I was 11, 12. You know, I was a little kid. But I remember he owned a motel. He bought the house behind it. He bought another house 3 houses down. Then he bought another house next door to that. Then he bought a building across the street. He owned the building that we lived in, that he moved me and my mother in when I was getting a little older. He moved us in on 131st and Civet. It was a 4-unit apartment building with 2 storefronts. He owned that. When my brother turned 17, he bought a building on 123rd and Kinsman. And the house behind it, he moved his brother into the house. He bought the building, rented that out, and he opened up my brother a convenience store. And my brother was running the store. So again, he never said these different things, but I seen it. He bought one of his sisters a bar off 93rd. She lived in the house behind it, owned the bar up front. He bought that for her. He bought his other sister another bar off of Martin Luther King Drive.
Yeah.
He bought the building, so he was setting up his family members, you know. I used to go play over my cousin's house on Huff, 71st and Huff. He owned a 8-unit apartment building right there next to the store, right across from the school. So that was my social media. He made these things very normal to me. So when I got old enough and I was in the streets and got a little money, I still didn't immediately say I'm going to buy real estate. Actually, that came from one of my peers, a guy that I was doing business with. So I was still at that point. No, I bought my first house actually when I was 19. So at that time, I bought the house, 147th and Barlett. I moved my mother down. I moved up, but it was just a mortgage, right? It was the thing to do. I'm still doing my thing in the streets. And then one day I went to go, I bought a Cherokee, I forgot, Cherokee Limited, a white Cherokee, a newer one. And I called my boy, like, yo, bro, I got the joint. I'm about to come pick you up. We can ride. I go pick him up. He jump in. We ride, just hitting corners. You know, what do you do? And he said, run me over here to Shaw. I need to pick up some money. I'm like, hold on, bro. You going to make a move? Because we need to switch cars. No, it ain't about that. It's about this real estate move. And we just riding. And I pull up, and I'll never forget this, right off Shaw, Euclid. You go down the street, you make a right, you pull down the street, there's some apartments back there. And when I pulled up, like, what you doing, bro? He like, I need to collect his rent. Like, what the hell you talking about? Collecting rent? Yeah, me and Chuck, we bought these joints. We collecting rent. I'm like, collecting rent? I'm like, man, hurry up. He got back in the car. I ran him back home and dropped him off. I called my OG. I was 19. He was like 22. I called him like, man, I want to buy real estate right now. I want to buy some more investment properties. See, my first house in my mind was an investment property. It was just what I supposed to do when I get some money, get my mother out the projects, get myself out the projects, move up the way. But I wasn't thinking about it as an investment property. My investments was in the street still. But seeing him inspired me. And even before that, it was another dude that I was getting my stuff from. And every time I would re-up, I call him and he'll say, meet me at this address, meet me at this address, meet me at this. And every time we met at a different, man, what's up? What's this? Oh, this is another house I just bought. But he was older. He was like, I'm 19, so he like 26. So that was like an OG to me. I really couldn't connect to him. But the guy that took to collect rent, we were like the same age. So I'm like, hold up, if he doing it, you know, but the older guy, just like me, people see what I'm doing now, they call me OG, and they think because I'm older, I have more experience, I should be on that level. It's not attainable for them. But I'm here to tell you that at 19, 20, 21, you can do it. You know, I had a late start. I did 14 and a half years in prison together, 3 different numbers, and not including juvenile. I had a late start. So I should have been way ahead of the game. So my OG, he was buying these houses. So I called my dude and said, man, I want to buy real estate. He took me to E&D Real Estate on Lee Road, across the street from where Sharks.
Oh, wow.
Bobby, you need to look him up, man. Historical in the city. Bobby Walker.
Okay.
Bobby Walker.
So
back then, there was only a couple of African-American real estate guys making moves in the late 80s, early 90s, and he was one of them. Bobby Walker, and a couple of more. I'm not going to, because I'm going to forget a couple if I start trying to name.
Julius Cartwright?
Yeah, of course. He was OG.
I'm a part of your team.
Yeah, OG for sure. OG. He was one of them. But Bobby was a little older than them. Okay. So he was making moves. So I went in the office. My dude took me in and said, yo, this is my young dude. He want to buy some real estate. Bobby said, man, nice to meet you. Great move, young man. I'm happy for you. Anything I can do, let me know. I'm going to put you with one of my guys. He going to take you out. What's your budget? What you want to do? I said, this is how much I got. Boom, I bought some real estate. You know what I mean? And my first house, I paid $6,500 for it. I put $7,000 in it, and I sold it for $65,000 in less than 4 months. That was my first investment property.
You were hooked into that?
Oh, it was a wrap. I literally, listen, the last time I ever sold dope aggressively was when I was 19. I probably seen it and touched it right when I was turning 21, but I never dealt with drugs again after the age of 21. Most people that think they know would assume that I did because I lived the same lifestyle. I drove the same cars, I wore the same jewelry, dressed the same, and I hung with the same people. But I wasn't selling drugs. They were, I wasn't. You know what I mean? I was already doing real estate in between my little prison stints. I never went to prison in my life for drugs. It was always for felonious assault or something, a gun, shooting somebody or whatever, getting caught with a gun. So that's what kept leading me to prison. But it was never relating to drugs at all, ever. So yeah, that was it for me. Once I did that with the real estate, it was life-changing. I never went back. And every time I came home from prison, I would get back into real estate or in restaurant business. And I was learning my lessons, but I was still, I was still caught up into the street mentality. Even though I was a legitimate businessman, I was still, because I was hanging with nothing but street guys every day, all day. So I fell prey to that. I was hanging on to my street rep that I had and all this, and it was BS. And that was, you know, I didn't learn the stronger lessons until later on life, and who you surround yourself with is, you know, who you can become, who you are. You know, it's a statistical fact that your 5 closest friends, you will be 20% above or below them in terms of your annual salary. That's a fact. I mean, that's a statistical fact. So I didn't understand, I didn't get those lessons. I didn't learn those lessons until later in life. You know, you can be the strongest individual in the world. I don't claim it, but I'm an alpha, right? I'm a natural leader. I've always been the guy at the front. I never was in the gang unless I was the one that created the gang. That's why I was never in the popular gangs, because I wanted to be the one to create that. And you follow me, I'm the leader. That was my natural personality. But you can be the strongest individual in the world if you surround yourself by a bunch of weak knuckleheads, you will succumb to that. And I learned that, unfortunately, I was around guys that was, don't twist it, because I got dudes that I loved and they were good individuals. They didn't know any better. They didn't have that knowledge and information, and they didn't know. They were the guys when I came home from prison. Here, they put me on by here, giving me a package. Here, get on. Because nobody taught them. Nobody knew. So I succumbed to that. And, you know, when I'm out and we get into it, it was nobody in our circle to say, hold up, man, let's think about that. Let's think twice about that. So if I got 5 guys that run on my door and say, man, we just got into it, boom, boom, grab the heat, let's go. My 5 dudes, what I'm going to say, like, oh, man, nah, man, come on, let me holler at y'all. And their energy is like, we got to go. So they're overpowering my energy because I'm only one person. So I can't be the guy to say, nah, man, we got to be smarter. We got to bow down and just let them do as they want. You can't. You in the hood, you can't speak like that at that point. So unfortunately, I succumbed to that, and until I finally woke up and was intentional about who I allowed in my circle and who I hung with on a daily basis, and who I broke bread with, and who would come to my house and whose house I would go to. My life didn't change. So that's very weed your garden. I mean, that's just not a trendy saying. That's a very real phenomenon. If you want to be something in your life, you hang with people that's trying to be something or that's already something. If you want to be a rocket scientist, you hang with rocket scientists. That's good. You know, if you want to be a cook, you don't hang with rocket scientists. That don't, you know what I mean? It don't make sense. You have to put yourself in that circle. So for me, with real estate, that's what it was. And once I started down that path, people ask me, how do you get these deals, and how do you this and that? Like, I don't know. It's so natural because this is my life. This is my livelihood. This is the life I live every day. I live, eat, breathe real estate and restaurants. Period. I don't know anything else. I don't claim to be smart at the million other things. I claim to be smart in restaurants and real estate.
Yeah.
Because I've proven myself. I went through the fire, put in the work, and I've been successful at it. Very successful at it. Very successfully blessed.
Yeah.
You know, so that was it with the real estate, bro. It's if you're not in it, you better get in it in any type of way. If I can't give anybody any advice, if you don't do this is what I tell people that's a little scared or a little hesitant to get in real estate. And I would never suggest everybody become a landlord and investor and flip houses. That'll be ridiculous because it's not for everybody. But if I don't say anything else, and this is debatable, unfortunately, if you don't do anything else, own where you live and own where you do business.
Come on. That was worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah. If you don't do anything else, do that. But you got a lot of people on social media talking about billionaires and millionaires. They don't even own their house and they lease and they rent. Man, get out of here with that madness. And they, it's stupid. It's like this is one of those things, right? If you read the Bible, I read the Bible, you read the Bible. If we read the exact same passage, we might get something completely different out of it. Because we're reading something that you have to decipher. And our perspective, our knowledge and understanding on how we're feeling that day is how that information is going to come off to us. So people that see something on the internet, I hate all these people on social media telling other people this is how millionaires do something and they've never had $1 million. That's ridiculous. And it's more ridiculous for the people that's listening to them. Seriously, it's the most, and they're sharing that information from somebody that's clearly never been a millionaire, and they're telling you how somebody else do it. It's ridiculous. So that's more important than anything. Filtering the information that you put in your spirit and your soul and your mind, making sure it's the right information. Take some extra time and see who you're getting that information from. Because it's so many people online. That's one of the biggest negatives, that you can be whoever you want to be on social media, on the internet, and it's crazy. People make their living out of trolling people online now. It's insane.
That's facts. So let me ask you this: with a man who has as many talents as you, how do you balance it all, man? How do you balance restaurants?
There's no such thing.
Is there such thing?
No, seriously. That's a fallacy. When you're really, and don't get it twisted, I balance it now, but I don't want to. People need to understand how I got here. And it's no such thing as balance. I hear people, listen, God bless you. I hear people saying, well, you have to balance your relationship and you have to put in quality time over here and work, and it's BS. It's BS. Listen, I'm not trying to knock anybody. Listen, if you want real success in this world, you have to go beyond the call of duty to get that success. When other people are putting in quality time with their family, you have to be putting in quality time on your business, on your goals in life, and it'll come back. I told her, listen, I know. I went through it. I know what it took. I sacrificed. I went through, all the frustration and the stress, knowing that I know how, I felt it in my gut that I'm not able to spend real quality time with my kids. But thank God they were so young. Now they don't even remember. Now, like you ask, I have a 12-year-old daughter. If you ask her, what did your daddy do? I don't know. What you do? I don't know. He don't really do nothing. He's at home all the time. He's at the house in Atlanta. We travel. We go to dinner. He's out in the yard doing this. He owns some restaurants and some real estate, but I really don't know to what level. You know what I mean? My son, he just turned 30 a month ago, and if you ask him, he don't remember the early grind and the hustle. He don't remember. It didn't affect him. If you ask him, I was a great dad. I was there. And you have to decide. Listen, I would never promote somebody not to put in the quality time in their relationship with their kids. I would never promote that. But if you want extraordinary success, you have to do extraordinary things.
That's tight. I know I said, hey, Tyler, but that's it right there.
Yeah, it's not that simple. You know, I made the sacrifice. Like I said, I cried in the restaurants. I slept in the restaurants. I know what it feels like on one of the coldest days in Cleveland history to be in the basement of one of my houses, literally up to my hips in water, the coldest water you ever want to feel in your life. Trying to dig out the drain to unstop the drain where the water can flow down because the pipe's busted, and if I don't stop the water, it's gonna keep going up. So I couldn't wait till somebody came to do it. I had to go in that house and do it because it was my money on the line. I put every dollar to buy this house, and I needed to save my investment. You know, so anything and everything that you can think about dealing with trials and tribulations of real estate and the restaurant business, I've been there and done that. I've been in real estate longer than the restaurant business, a lot longer. First house at 19, so 30 plus years in this business. I've done definitely over 400 deals, my own deals out of my own money, my own pocket, in my company name. So just in the last, I've done over 350 just in the last 8 years. Maybe 8.5 now. So at one point in time, I was selling 30 houses a year to homeowners.
You were flipping them.
I was flipping. Okay. That's how I made majority of my money by buying. I made most of my money from buying and selling real estate. And I just want to be careful the word flip. As you know, people define that differently. Yeah. I was buying houses, renovating them, selling them to homeowners. Yeah. So I wasn't flipping. I flipped, don't get me twisted. I started flipping later in life when I got hip to that. You flipping, when you buy a house, you don't do nothing to it and you flip it to another investor or somebody else. That's a flip. But I made majority of my money from buying, renovating, and selling to homeowners. I completely changed Lee and Harvard. I completely, single-handedly, I changed Lee and Harvard when I first over there. I changed the comps when I first started. Come on, I'm sorry.
I got that's a flex right there. That's a whole flex right there. I don't think I understand what he just said right there. Yeah. But what he did with the house, because y'all understand that one time or another, Lee and Harvard wasn't where it is now.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, it was, and then it fell off, and then I brought it back because Lee and Harvard was considered the suburbs for African Americans. You know, along before our time when we was much younger, and then it fell off because everybody was running the suburbs. Yeah. So when I first started buying and selling houses to homeowners in Lee and Harvard, the most that I could sell a house for was $64,000. Can you imagine that now? No. As a real estate agent,
not at all.
3-bedroom, 1-bathroom bungalow, completely renovated, with granite, new cabinets, and everything. The most you can get is $64,000.
I'll be running that
when I first started. And when I left, the last one I sold, I actually sold it for $164,900 in the same area. I also single-handedly brought Oakwood Village back. Me, personally, I don't care. Do your research. Yeah. It's easy to check the receipts.
Man, listen.
When I went to Oakwood, the most that you could sell a house for when I bought the first one was $215,000. I sold my first one that I flipped, and the last one I sold for $389,000. No, so everywhere I do business, I turn it up a notch. Listen, that's my goal, and I'm blessed to be able to do that because money is not everything for me when I'm doing business. Yeah. That's just part of it. I want to make money, but I want to change the game too. That's just my personal characteristic flaw. You know.
No, hey, listen.
You know, some people it's hard because I can't do business with partners because they don't understand. Yeah, I want to do a waterfall on the granite. I want to do a granite waterfall. I want to do an island. They like, man, that's $6,000 more. That can be money in our pocket. Yeah, but I'm not gonna be happy unless I do that. You know what I mean? Instead of making $40,000, we're gonna make $35,000 $5,000 now. But I want to do it. I'll feel better. You know what I mean? So it's very hard for me to do business with people because of that flaw.
But as a signature look, you know what I'm saying? It's signature that separates you from the next. I see why you do it. Differentiate yourself from the next person. That's dope right there.
So I have a philosophy in with real estate too, undercharge and over deliver.
No, thank you, Michelle.
Yeah. If you do that, you will never go wrong.
You will never.
Yeah. I've been blessed with my rental properties. I don't have a lot of evictions. I don't, because I over deliver and undercharge. So why would people leave?
Time out. Because I hope you're taking notes. Because he just gave you guys like the whole playbook when you have tenants to how to keep good tenants.
No, for sure. If you give them those extra things and you charge at market or below market, don't try to overcharge. Why would they leave you?
Right.
I mean, some people don't get it. You can give them everything and they just can't afford to stay there, or they have their own issues that they're dealing with. But if you do that, real smart tenants, they'll look around and say, I can't get what he's giving me at this price.
Absolutely.
So they won't go. As simple as that. And I got out the residential business for years. I sold every residential. At one point in time, I got up to 40 doors on the residential, and I sold every last one when, all these investors was in city and things with prices was up on investment properties and rental properties, and I only kept 2. And now I'm back up. I'm building it back up. It's growing again.
So let me ask you this. So, and we can go over the different techniques and whatnot. What do you find yourself more favoring? Buying holds, renovations, or do you, or more so commercial estate? Like, or do you do a little bit of mix of all of them?
So, good question. And I want to be careful on how I answer this, because I don't want anybody to run out and just hear part of what I say. If I just say choose one over the other, people run out and focus on that. And I don't want to do that, because I'm at a different place in my life. So let me give people the real estate blueprint from whatever angle you're coming from. The first thing before I advise anybody to do anything with real estate, I ask them, what's the end goal? What are they doing? Do you have a career job, right? Do you have a personality that can deal with rental property? Do you have skills that can do renovations? So I would never advise one thing for everybody. That's just not how it works, right? So somebody with a career job, they love what they do, but they're just looking for some extra passive income, I would say just get some rental properties, right? And if you have some skills, or you have some family members, or you have people in your family, your loved ones that do renovations, and they're willing to work with you, then you can go and buy the tax auction or the foreclosure auction, or buy something that need work. But if you don't attempt to forge those relationships with somebody that can do work once you buy that property. That's not how this works. You'll get screwed every time, right? So if your father do that work and he said, baby, go out and buy the property, I'll do the work and I'll help you. Go buy the property that need work. If you don't have those people in your life, buy a property turnkey. You're going to spend more money. So what? It's going to be less headache, and you're going to save in the end. Buy it already turnkey. As soon as you buy it, you can start collecting rent. If that's what you're trying to do, you got a career job, you don't have time to learn how to put in kitchen cabinets and put in ceramic tile and floors, and you don't want to deal with that. So that's for that person. The person that don't have that career job, or they have that career job and they're totally unhappy and unsatisfied, and they know how to get their hands dirty, or willing to do that, or have people on their team or loved ones that they can do that, go buy the house that need to be renovated and sell it. And you can make a lot of money for sure. So I hope I answered that part of it.
That was perfect. Listen, and I promise, I hope people are watching this and they're taking notes, because you are like giving like some gems today on just real estate as a whole. Because once again, being a real estate agent, of course I know so many things, but someone new, this is important information that you know.
So that the first part of your question. The other part was the difference between residential and commercial. It's the same. So the first thing I want to tell people, don't get it twisted. It's the same animal. Period. with different stripes. It's real estate. If I can choose one thing, what separates the two is the initial investment. Most commercial properties is going to be 3 to 5 times more expensive than the residential property. But at the end of the day, the ROI is the same. It's all about the ROI.
I'm sorry, break it down for ROI.
Yeah.
For who don't
Return
know.
on investment. How much money can you make on the money that you invest in this property? That's more important than absolutely anything. I make the same ROIs on commercial properties that I make on residential properties. But the difference is, example, I'm giving you real examples. I've purchased a residential property. Put $50,000 in it and sold it for $200,000. That's a 100% ROI. I'm giving you a real example on the commercial property. I purchased a commercial property for $300,000 and didn't put one penny in it and sold it for $580,000. That's almost a 100% markup. So that's really the difference. Can you buy commercial properties as cheap as you can buy residential? Of course. Because there's residential properties out there, $500,000, $800,000. Yeah. The most expensive buy and sell to a homeowner I ever sold was a little over $1 million in Pepper Pike. I had one in Solon. I sold for $850,000. So yes, it's expensive residential properties. I've had the cheapest commercial property I ever paid or purchased was $25,000. And I sold it in less than 5 months later and I didn't put one penny in it. I paid $25,000. I sold it for $178,000, less than 4 months later. So, but as much as I say that, I have residential properties I literally purchased for $1,000 and sold for $3,000 within an hour. I have commercial buildings I paid $40,000 for it and sold it within the same day for $75,000. So when you're in real estate, you're in real estate, and I'm engulfed in it. I swim in it every day. So this is my business. People, I don't want to, attract people with that information, because is every deal going to be like that? Absolutely not. Right. Absolutely not. So those are the differences. What I do like about commercial, I hate to say this, but I don't hate to say it. When you're evicting somebody on the residential side, you have to go through a process, through eviction court. You have to serve a 3-day notice. You go to court, and Cuyahoga County is very pro-tenant. They're not pro-landlord at all. It's a very pro-tenant state, so it's a process. Now, what I do like with commercial more than that is it's this thing called self-help. I learned this with my first commercial building that I bought 23 years ago. It's a law called self-help. If somebody don't pay your money, you can go change the locks on them.
I don't know that.
No eviction, no nothing. Yeah. But it has to be in your lease. Yeah. The self-help clause will have to be in your lease, so when they sign. But guess what? When it's not in your lease, even when it's not in your lease, you still can do it, and that puts the ball in their court, and they have to sue you to try to gain possession back. Yeah. And it's still a fight in civil court. Right. And if you just take their possessions and put them in storage, document everything, you can get your possession of your building back, rent it out, and keep it moving. But with the self-help clause, with commercial properties is in there, my tenant don't pay, by the 5th day, I can go change the locks, keep all their stuff, put it in storage if that's what I want to do, or give it to them. I have never taken anybody's stuff except one person, and this person owed me so much money, and I gave him so many chances, and I kept, go ahead, and listening to their BS, and I kept all this stuff. That was all. Everybody else, look, you owe me Monday between 3 and 6, you need to come get all your stuff out of here. Yeah. It's simple as that. So I felt like I'm one of the best landlords in the world because I'm also a tenant. You know what I mean? I'm also a tenant.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I love this interview, by the way, because this is phenomenal. But I wanted to make sure we're touching it on the reality show you have with Beyond Win, which is dope, by the way.
Yeah, and TK.
And TK, I'm sorry, yes. Yeah. She's coming on the podcast later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I want to talk about how did that come to development, and once again, in Cleveland, when we talk about black real estate, you guys 3 names come up, by the way.
Okay.
Like phenomenally.
Appreciate
like talking about black people in real estate doing big things, y'all 3 names come up. How did that come to be? And just talk a little bit about it, because I think it's phenomenal what y'all are doing. By the way.
So it's called the Real Estate Hustle. It was an idea that I had. Again, I'm an artist. I'm a creator. I'm a visionary, so I'm always thinking about different things. It's just about having the time to push through on everything. But this was a show that I came up with watching HDTV and A&E and these different shows. And the reality of it is most people that want to be in real estate from an investor standpoint, they don't want to flip houses. They don't want to buy a house and renovate it and sell it. Most of those shows evolve around that premise, right? Most people just want some extra money. They want to make an extra $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $3,000 a month. So that's from a buy and hold passive income standpoint, right? So I felt like that was missing. Yeah. Nobody was on TV talking about Airbnbs. Nobody was on TV talking about wholesaling. That's one of the biggest real estate phenomenons over the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
You know, Airbnb thing was trending for 5 years straight, especially during COVID.
Oh, yeah, hands down.
Nobody was talking about that. And nobody was talking about the background from where we were from, right? Because most of those people that didn't look like us, the only way they was able to go and buy all those different houses because they had access to funds. But we wanted to talk about real estate from how we knew it, me, TK, and beyond, that you can start on a shoestring budget. You know, you don't have to. I just told you, my first house, $6,500.
Right.
You know, it was a long time ago, but, you know,
it's out there.
It's not. I bought a house. Oh, beyond to tell you, I bought a house probably 4 years ago for $1,000 and sold it to him for $3,000. He turned around and sold it for I think $15,000 or $20,000. So those opportunities are out there. I just wanted that was the vision to create a show. Especially locally, putting Cleveland on the map.
That's the
I thought about the people I wanted a part of it. Obviously, beyond we were doing business together, and he has a overwhelming personality, right? That people are attracted to. Not everybody, but a lot of people, and they can relate to him. And we have very relatable stories. His personality is way more outgoing than mine is in terms of the camera. So I needed that because I'm a very laid back guy. It takes a little more to get me engaged. And I wanted to bring in some diversity. So a female, I thought about a couple of females that was doing it. I like TK's story because she's a real hustler. You know, I know her. I know her bloodline. So she's from my neighborhood. I knew her personally growing up, and I know that she was really doing it. I mean, she's not faking when you see her. And by the way, this is not a scripted show. Right. We didn't script anything. Right. We just had the director follow us around to get this content, but we never scripted anything. So she's really kicking in the door with her Louis Vuitton or Gucci tennis shoes. walking through the properties, teaching her daughter the game, and she's really doing exactly what it shows. Somebody really died on one of her properties, and we caught that on air. You know what I mean? Somebody really, one of the tenants really brought her in the house and slammed the door on the director. We was blessed to get that. You know what I mean? So those things really, really were happening. So that was the idea. It was just something I came up with. I got with them too. I sold it to them. As soon as I said it, they liked the idea and the concept. We got with Drico and put it together. And we're putting, Drico Lamar. He did a great job. I remember when he showed us the first I don't know what you call it, the first draft of the first episode.
Like a pilot or something.
Yeah, the first pilot, man, I felt the chills going up my sleeve because he did a great job, and he exceeded, at least I can agree, speak for Beyond, because we talked about it, he exceeded our expectations. We didn't know that he had that in him.
That's good.
I felt like he did from seeing other things that he did, but I didn't know. 100%. But we betted on him, and it was a nice situation.
That's good.
But in the beginning, our plan was to put out this show, shop it to the Netflix and the A&Es and the HDTVs. But to be honest, when we started talking to representatives of those companies and started getting information about how much they paying, like, I don't know about y'all, and they agreed, like, that ain't no money. You know what I mean? Like, and at the end of the day, we agreed in one of our very first meetings that we wasn't doing this for money. We were doing this to put information out there and help other people. Now, obviously, we know if it hits big, our personal brands will grow from that. Like Beyond has a program, he got a book. One day, my plan is to write a book. TK would like to do a show and expand her brand. So we just sat down and said, you know what? Forget the money. That little $30,000 an episode that they offering us, that's nothing. We get that in our regular hustle. And I don't want to become, now I have the responsibility that I have to put out more content because of them, and we signed this contract. And I don't want to do it. We want to do it on our own time and how we want to do it.
That's good.
So we had a meeting about 3 months ago. I said, man, let's put it out for free. Let's just give it to the people. And that's what we're doing. We're giving it to them. We pay for it out of our own pocket. We spent the time, we put it together, and we're going to give it away for free. That's
dope.
Yeah. So you'll see more. We're going to start putting more. We actually had a meeting the other day, and we're going to start putting more content on the channel. We're going to put more episodes out, but we're also going to just put more extra, a day in the life of TK, a day in the life of Akin, a day in the life of Beyond, when they're working on their projects. Because we do this every day. We're not saving it just for the camera.
Right.
We do it every day. So we're going to start putting out more content for sure.
That's good. That's good. And like, I seen it, I'm like, man, this is phenomenal. Because once again, I'm an advocate for our city. I believe Cleveland is a great city. I know we have always had the negative commentary being the quote unquote mistake on the lake, but I and you guys already on the podcast, I say all the time, I believe Cleveland is becoming a hub for creators, entrepreneurs, and innovators as a whole or whatnot.
Yeah, it's one of them for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of them for sure.
Absolutely, and I love the fact that you guys are putting a spotlight on the city and using it as a platform. Also using you guys as a platform. You guys are big names or whatnot, and I think that's awesome. By the way.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
So thank you.
So yeah, check out the Real Estate Hustle, and hopefully, for those that haven't been to Zanzibar in a while or never been, please check us out. It's a new Zanzibar, new attitude, new management team. We're coming all the way correct. Please check out the Cleveland Breakfast Club. I believe it's the best brunch in the city consistently, 7 days a week. Please check out the Vegan Club Tuesday through Sunday. By far, and put your money where your mouth at, because I'll put mine up. The Vegan Club is definitely the best vegan food, and I'm not knocking anybody, because I go to all of them. I support all the other vegan restaurants in Cleveland, but our Chef Portia, is doing something really special with her creativity. Check out Angie Soul Cafe. We're getting that back, growing it to the next level. 123rd and Superior is coming soon. I just closed on that building, the old Hot Sauce Williams over there.
Okay.
So that'll be 4 locations for Angie's. You have 79th and Carnegie, Leon Harvard Plaza, and Emory and Green. So this will be the 4th location. And then we're opening up someone on my team wanted to do another concept, so we're opening up To the Last Drop. Hopefully within the next 60 days it'll be open or sooner at 20005 Harvard Avenue in Warrensville. And then coming up soon, we have another restaurant concept in Atlanta that I'm opening up in the next 60 days. I've been down there back and forth working on it in Sandy Springs, 8318 Roswell Road, called Cache. So we're doing something special down there too.
When do you sleep, man?
Oh, listen, and going back to that earlier, so I just want to add this. I'm blessed in my life. I do what I want to do when I want to do it now. But, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, that wasn't the case. And it wasn't about balance. It was no balance in my life. It was nothing.
That's
so
good.
you have to listen. You can't skip the line. Listen, you can't skip the line.
Thank you.
You have to play your part. You have to play your position. You have to do what you have to do now where you can do what you want to do later.
That's good.
I'm proof of that. I put in the work. It was no balance. It was all work. It was all sacrifice. It was all reinvesting in me. And me and what I believed in and my vision. I put in the work and I put in my money and my time. And it paid off. It will. If you do it, it will pay off for you if you do it the right way. But it's information, knowledge, experience, and just don't talk it. Be about that. And people will see it. People will have the vision. I don't have the money. I guarantee you, money is easy. If you put in that work, if you put in that sacrifice, people with money will invest in you. But it can't just be about the talk. You actually got to walk that walk. You actually have to be doing it. And I have it. I can't even name all the people that I've invested in that came from up under me, and I can line them up all day that I backed their play, and they didn't have the money. I had the money, and they just was willing to put in the work. So, and that's what it's about. I mean, all these restaurants that I'm naming, I have partners in these business, operating partners, that they came with it. They came with it, not just talk. They put in the work. They put in the sacrifice. They worked for me for years, up under me for years, until I felt like they were ready, and they said they were ready. And I recognized that they were ready from the work that they put in, and I backed them. So I don't do this on my own. I have a great team at Zanzibar, a great team at Angie's, a great team at Cleveland Breakfast Club, great team at Vegan Club, To the Last Drop. I have another team member that's coming up. 2 years ago, she came and said, I want to get in. I want to put in the work. I want to open up a restaurant. I put her in play, and now she's opening up a restaurant.
That's dope that you do that, by the way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Put people in position to win. Who put in the work in also.
Yeah.
No, that's great right there.
Yeah, for sure.
So as we close out, I want to get to some simple questions. And because you're a Cleveland native, and you've seen the evolution of Cleveland.
Yes.
How do you feel like we can change the narrative of not being, because Cleveland's not known for a collaborative city like Atlanta, New York, and whatnot.
Yeah.
What do you feel we can do to change that narrative?
I don't want to put a lot of emphasis on that because, again, I'm in Atlanta and they're not that collaborative. They don't work together as much as people think.
Wow.
Everybody's doing their thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're really supporting each other from doing their thing like that. How they collaborate is they're opening up their businesses in the same areas. Now, that's something that the biggest problem with Cleveland. It's a lot of people in here in Cleveland that's doing their thing, but we're doing it so separated and segregated. You don't feel the energy or collaborative energy. Never, because he's over there, she's over there, he's over there, you know what I mean? So we don't, I don't know how do we successfully collaborate the right way other than supporting an app like Local, supporting a magazine like Triumph, supporting the people that's shedding light on the individual businesses. I had an idea during the pandemic. I'm that guy. I'm all about community. I'm all about supporting each other. I'm all about neighbors. Man, put your money where your mouth at. Name one person in this city can ever say Akin hated on them in any type of capacity. I support everybody. I spend my, it's uncomfortable because when I used to go to other black restaurants, as soon as I walk in, they're assuming that I'm in there to, instead of just to support, I'm looking at what they doing, and I've never been threatened by anybody in terms of, I never felt like anybody else was a threat to my business, ever. When I was downtown at Zanzibar, when Chicago Chicken and Waffles opened up, actually I had Stone Town at that time, I never felt it with me and Darnell, the actual owner, is cool. I go to his restaurants in Chicago. I helped him, people don't even know, I helped him negotiate the deal down the street. Because my mind works bigger than that. You can open your mind and see Burger King and McDonald's. Wherever you see a Burger King, you see a McDonald's.
Come on now.
You're going to see a Wendy's. You're going to see a Popeyes. People don't understand being that only person on the island is the dumbest thing in the world that you can do. You want to be somewhere where there's other businesses and there's other energies where y'all can feed off of each other.
That's good.
So I'm the guy that's been working on an idea called, I was telling you about, during the pandemic, I came up with this idea. I actually just posted it. I was cleaning out my office and found it. It was a bag that I wanted to collaborate with all the black-owned restaurants at that time. And on the bag, it was called, what was the saying everybody was using? Black, what was the popular saying everybody was saying? It kind of, Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
So mine was called Black Restaurants Matter, or Black Food Matters.
Okay.
And it was going to have the logo on every black restaurant, full service restaurant in the city on that bag. So when you go to your restaurant, you will see our businesses and vice versa, right? So that was the collaboration. And don't get it twisted, everybody was with it. We just dropped the ball because nobody had the time to commit to do the work to put the deal together. When the lady sent out the email, nobody was responding in a timely manner to send their logo and cut the check. Because we were going to buy, we would buy 300,000 bags to spread out in the restaurants. And it would have took a check and some follow-up and some money. You got to approve your logos. And nobody really was following up. And I didn't have the time at that time to do it. I was on my own mission. It was my idea. I just wanted to plant the seed and somebody else run with it. But I think it was a great idea, and it's something we didn't have to do during the pandemic. We probably can bring back, and that's how we can show collaboration for those that is willing to do it. But I've been working on, I don't know if you have heard about it, but I've been working on this concept called Buck Hill, the Buck Hill district on Buckeye.
That's you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I actually created that name, my brand, the concept is bringing Black Wall Street back. So I've been working on that for about 7 years. And that's how we can bring some collaboration back to the city of Cleveland. I was looking around the city and said, where can we bring Black Wall Street back? Where every business, not some business, are not only operated by people that look like us, but we actually own the real estate too. And Buckeye, between 116th and Northmoreland, or Southmoreland, was the street that a couple of us chose. So we all went over and bought properties. I own 9 properties over there that I bought. All commercial properties, and my attorney, she owns one. Another one of my dudes own another guy. So I own, it's like 7 of us that own properties over there. So hopefully, if we can stay focused, stay disciplined, stay on the mission, in the next 3 years, 5 years, that's where we're going to try to bring this Black Wall Street back. You have the little Italys, you have the Chinatowns and all that. We're trying to create that little Africa, whatever we're going to call it, but the Buck Hill district. And that's the plan. So, I was inspired by that probably like 10 years ago when they first did it in Atlanta. It was called Peter Street. Every restaurant, every bar was black owned. And you come out of one place, going to another. Clothing stores, barbershops, everything right on that strip. Now they have so many strips in Atlanta like that, you can't even keep up. It's too many. Literally, it's at least 15 that I know of. They actually have a mall that they bought. It was an old Walmart or Target, and they turned it into the Black Wall Street. Like every store inside of there is black owned. It's crazy.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, but they have the population. They have the African American population. So between Cleveland, in Northeast Ohio, period, it's only about 400,000 African Americans. That's all the way to Canton, Akron, Lorraine, Sandusky. It's only like 400,000. In Atlanta, it's like 1.8 million in Greater Atlanta, and their total population is close to 8 million total. And that don't have anything to do with the tourists, or that's not even calculating the college students.
So there's an infrastructure to support.
It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. So every business that you open up in Cleveland with the same effort, the same work, same investment, you automatically can get the 5 times return in Atlanta. And that's what I tell people. So I love Atlanta, I love Cleveland, but that's what I point out. That's the difference why Cleveland can never be in Atlanta. You know, it's just a numbers game.
Well, okay, as we kind of wind things, kind of get it to a wrap here. Legacy, big importance. I think you even kind of touched on it a little bit with the different things that you have going on with your restaurant and your real estate. So when you leave this earth, what would be the legacy you would like to leave behind for you as the person, as the man behind the scenes of everything, and for all of what you have accomplished in that lifetime?
For me, I would definitely want to be mentioned in, if not one of the top businessmen that ever came through this city. Not just black-owned businessmen that, you know, kicked in the door, did some things that other people have not done up until that point. Hopefully other people will, you know, go take it to the next level after me. But for me, I want to be mentioned in one of the top businessmen in the city that cared about his community, made money, but always reinvested, always brought it back, because I'm very intentional with that. Like, the name of my company is 3 Black Nights, and my logo is reinvesting back in the community, and I do it. I go out of my way to do it. I don't have to do it. I don't. I live in Atlanta. I have a big, beautiful house down there, but I spend more time still in Cleveland because I care about this city. I love this city, and I'm blessed and recognize and appreciate how this city has supported me in all my endeavors for so many times. Quick story, real quick. I remember coming home from prison and being intentional about not letting people know that I own these businesses, because I was scared on how my history and who I was as an individual would affect these businesses. I never had a business card with owner on it. Even to this, I just started for the first time putting founder and president, because I never wanted to allow my history and who I was and that name to, you know, overwash what I was trying to accomplish. So after a while, the reason I started being more open to that, because I was seeing how that information can help somebody else and inspire somebody else. So I wanted them to live their truth, because my truth was, I'm, you know, a 3-time convicted felon. I spent 14 and a half years in prison. You know, I've shot people, I've been shot. You know, I was a car thief, I was a drug dealer, but I changed my life, and I want to let people know it's never too late. So if I can do it, anybody can do it, like for real, for real. So that's the legacy that I want to leave behind. When they tell a story about who I am or who I became, I want them to also tell the story of who I was and where I came from, because that's the real story. Malcolm X, the book that changed my life was an autobiography of Malcolm X.
Come on, that's a good book.
Most people, from the movie it helped, but most people didn't know where he came from, what he went through and what he did. And for me, that was the wake up. When I read that book, I was like, oh, if people can really change like that, change from that to this, I mean, that's extreme change. If he can do it, I know I can do it. So reading that book, that was the book that planted the seed to let me know it's not too late for you, Ken. You can change your life. You got to put forth effort, but you can do it. So that's the legacy that I want to leave behind.
Yeah.
And the John Rockefellers, the Carnegies, they want to be, we won't say it, Africans, you know.
Hopefully, but
one of the businessmen.
Hopefully, but honestly, I don't want to get to that level. I don't, not from a financial standpoint. I don't want to spend the rest of my life chasing money. I don't. I'm blessed. I'm well off financially. Do I want to make more money? Yes. Do I have to? No. And I don't want to chase money until they put me in the grave. I want to enjoy life. I want to be more impactful. Yes, but the things that I do, I want to make money. I want my money to work for me. I learned that lesson later, that the goal is for you to work for the money and then get to a point where your money is working for you.
That's it.
We got like 18 titles over there.
And counting, I'm sure anymore. All right, well, I think that was an awesome answer.
Okay.
And we've gotten so much from you, Akin. Oh my
I
gosh.
mean-
I mean, it's been endless. He's been lighting that thing up. Surprised it still works. And so now we got to narrow it down to just 3
Okay.
of the top, things that you've talked about, that someone out there, being inspired, being motivated, what would you like for the takeaways to be for them?
Man, that's a lot.
You been
I know,
dropping.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, outside of the things that I've already said, listen, for those that is going through any type of obstacles in their life, the most important thing is that I don't care what anybody told you, making real change in your life, doing the right thing, going to that next level is not easy. It's not. Whoever told you it was easy, they lied to you. And I would never want to tell anybody this thing is easy. What's easy is saying that you want to change your life. Saying it, that's easy. But doing it, that's something different. And it shouldn't be easy, right? To obtain real success shouldn't be that easy, because we need someone to separate the girls from the women, the boys from the men. We need that. Those obstacles should be there. It shouldn't be that easy, and it's not. But it's obtainable. It can be done.
Yeah.
That's a fact. You can do it if you set your mind to it and get on the right path. So surround yourself by the right people. That's at the top of my list. That was life-changing for me. Putting myself in an environment around like-minded people that was on the path, that was putting in the work. That was one of the things that was very much life-changing. And, me, I felt like I believe real change comes from within. I had to want it, not just because of the money. See, that's the difference with me. When I was in prison, I remember talking to guys, and they said, I don't care what I got to do. I'll never flip burgers. I'll never get on the bus. Well, I was the opposite. I humbled myself to the point that I told them, I will. I'll get on the bus. I'll flip burgers at McDonald's. I'm willing to do whatever I have to do to keep my freedom and give myself a chance at life. If I don't do, and I remember getting into a big argument with my brother. He's like, man, I'll never get on the bus. Like, bro, I'll do whatever it takes not to come back here again, because I can't make it happen in prison.
Right.
I can't do those things. I love women. I love my freedom. You know what I mean? Like, no, seriously, I can't touch my girl in prison. You know what I mean? Like I like dudes, but I don't like them like that. You know what I mean? Like, I need to be around. I want freedom. I want real freedom. And that's the most important thing. I'm in love with freedom. That's what I worked so hard for, freedom. And if you want freedom, you have to make the sacrifices. You have to make a very intentional effort to do whatever it takes to stay on these streets, do the right thing, walk that righteous path. Don't try to skip the line.
That's good.
Do it the right way, and it'll happen. It's never too late. It's never too late. I came home when I was 38 years old with nothing, completely broken. I had to start over from scratch. Nobody gave me nothing. There's nobody in the city can ever say they gave me anything. Period. I worked for everything I got.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Nah, that's
perfect.
And listen, guys, I want to make sure you understand, for lazy people, I'm going to have all the links to anything that King's got going on. We're going to have all the links so you guys can visit the visit all the restaurants, visit anything, get a chance to check out the reality show and all that good stuff. So we appreciate you so much coming on today.
I appreciate
it.
it.
It is an honor having you on, by the way.
Really
And it's full circle. Like I said, when we first started this thing, we literally said, when we thought about guests to have on the show, like, man, we got to have Akin on, man, because like he's doing phenomenal things in the city. So I'm grateful to have you on today.
I appreciate it.
Honor to have you on today. And like I said, I remember I first came real estate agent. Man, Julius. So Julius, if y'all know Julius Cartwright, Julius, he's been on the podcast. Yeah. Black, phenomenal broker now. He's a broker. He has his own brokerage and whatnot. And he, like I said, he has so many people in high esteem. And you are definitely one of them.
I appreciate that.
So
he a legend.
He a legend. Hands down. Absolutely.
Real estate legend.
So it's an honor having you on. So listen, guys, we want to thank him for coming on. We want to thank you especially because, guys, as of right now, I think I checked the numbers. We're at 15.2 subscribers, 7.2 million views. That is nothing to scoff at. This is phenomenal, and you got to let us know that you guys love hearing stories like Akin's and just great guests who are doing great things in our city. So I want to thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. It is. Thank you. We're grateful for it. We want to thank you for that. Also, guys, I want to say again, if you guys are subscribed to the Flow Experience, subscribe to View to Be Told. Listen, Brittany does her thing. Listen, you support us, make sure you do that. Lastly, guys, we have a course. If you guys want to start your podcast, 2024 podcasting, I feel like it's a new wave. If you want to differentiate yourself in your industry, if you want to create content for your social media, if you want to just, once again, differentiate yourself from the next person, create a podcast. And we have literally bring it down to 20 steps that we think you can do today to get you from conception to concept to getting monetized on YouTube. So make sure to check out that. It's the link in the bio. We've done the hard work. This is episode 173. So it's 173 episodes. We have fine-tuned this thing to make it so you don't have to go buy the fancy equipment. We got a phone, a laptop, and some mics. And we got to 7 million views. So if we can do it just like King said, you can do it too, okay? Right. So let's check out, get that. And it's for $35, guys. That's a steal. Yeah. I'm just going to say, you know? So let me just put that out there. And lastly, guys, we just want to once again thank you guys again. And just stay tuned because we have some great things coming out in the pipeline, okay? As we continue to educate, empower, and enlighten you, know that we got some great panel discussions coming down. We have some great events coming together. And just be on the lookout for those great things. So we just want to thank you. It's episode 173, guys, and we'll see you guys next time, okay? Peace. Boom.